Hey, beautiful humans. Welcome back to Love Is. I am Stacey Herrera, your host, and this is episode number 2 in our sexual season series. Last week, we talked about sexual spring, that magical season of reawakening desire. But today, we're diving into sexual summer when desire burns hot and bright. If spring is the first blush of awakening desire, summer is the full bloom. This is the peak, the height, the fucking fireworks. Summer burns hot. This is when desire shows up as hunger. Touching feels urgent. Kisses leave you breathless. Orgasms, well, they may crash like waves. And your body is responsive, like incredibly responsive, quick and intense. There might be glances, words, and thoughts that arouse you without being touched. Like I have to close my eyes to say that. Sexual summer it's spontaneous, it's instant, it's urgent. Summer's sexuality it's primal, it's demanding, it's all consuming. A lot of us experience sexual summer for the first time when we're in our teens or in our 20s, but that's not the rule. I have worked with a lot of women who really didn't hit their sexual summer until they were in their 40s or 50s. And I do want to point out, and maybe emphasize is a better way to put it. I want to emphasize that we move through sexual seasons all the time. It's not just about how old you are or when it comes on. You could experience sexual winter in the morning and be in sexual summer by night, right? So it's not about age. It's not about age. So I do often see women who are midlife, because that's where we're at, who enter a sudden sexual summer. And that makes sense when you think about it, because in our younger years, we're still figuring out our bodies. We're navigating societal expectations. We're dealing with birth control, like the side effects of birth control that can sometimes dampen desire. We are very, very preoccupied with reproduction, which, let's be real, that gets in the way of us fully embodying our sexuality, right? And so sometimes the true heat of summer comes when we're able to shed external pressures and fully step into our power. And so again, while it doesn't have to mean age, there are a lot of factors that can play into summer coming on. When we are in midlife, like a lot of the things that we spend our time worrying about where sex is concerned have mitigated. Not STIs, but that's a conversation for another day. Today, we're just talking about power and sex and desire and sizzling summertime. I had a client once, and I think she was about 48 when we started working together, and she was like practically vibrating sexual energy. She was like, "Stacey, I can't focus on anything. I think about sex all the time, constantly. Is this normal?" Like, that was her biggest thing. She was so concerned about it being normal. And the answer is, not only is it normal, it's beautiful. Your sexual summer doesn't check with your birth certificate before showing up. Like I said, it has nothing to do with age. And for those in relationships, though, sexual summer can be exhilarating. I mean, think about spontaneous quickies, intense marathon sessions, the kind of sex where you just cannot wait to get each other's clothes off. We see that in the movies all the time, right? But a lot of us don't experience that all the time. But when you're in sexual summer, it could look like that. And your body is so responsive, it's ready, and pleasure builds up. You get that sexual ache where like you know that you are fully aroused. But, of course, there's a but. Summer can also be challenging, especially if you and your partner aren't in the same season because that happens. Maybe you're feeling that summer heat. They might be more in autumn or winter. And that might feel like a mismatch, and that can create tension if you don't have language to describe what you're feeling or what's happening for you. If you are single, sexual summer can feel empowering and frustrating at the same time. Because on the one hand, you're feeling deeply connected to your desire, your confidence is like got you all perked up, and you're clear about what you want. But maybe finding partners who can match your energy is challenging and who can match your energy respectfully, right? Which isn't always easy. So, how do you navigate the intensity of sexual summer? Well, first, you honor your desire without shame. Our culture, and I'm talking like Western culture, and not all of it, but a lot of it, let's just say in the United States particularly, our culture often pathologizes high female sexual desire. Especially in midlife, we use words like desperate or cougar, thirsty, and we use those kinds of words to diminish women who own their sexuality. But fuck that. Fuck that noise. Your desire is not something that needs to be contained or apologized for. It is a vital life force. Second, communicate explicitly. Summer energy can be overwhelming for you and for other people. But when you are clear about what you want and checking in about what your partner wants, it creates space for enthusiastic consent. And we love enthusiastic consent. Remember, just because you're ready to go doesn't mean that everyone else is. So that's why you're checking in. And the third thing is you want to channel that energy. Sexual energy is creative energy. So if you're finding yourself feeling constantly aroused, but maybe you don't have an outlet for that, you can redirect or repurpose some of that energy into other passionate pursuits. It could be dancing, it could be art, writing, or whatever lights you up. And this isn't about suppression. I'm talking about working with a powerful force rather than being overwhelmed by it. And if you happen to be in a relationship, sexual summer is a chance for you to deepen intimacy through pleasure. You can share your fantasies, you could try new things. Maybe that looks like taking the lead if you usually don't. You can just let your natural enthusiasm be contagious. And if you're partnered with someone whose energy isn't where you're at, have an honest conversation about it. Not demanding or blaming, but a vulnerable one. You could say something like, I've been feeling really sexually charged lately, and I would love to explore that with you. What would help you to feel more connected to that energy within yourself? Or something like that. I mean, you could say it a little less professional, but you get where I'm saying. And I want to remind you mismatched desire does not mean incompatibility. Sometimes it just means that you need to find a bridge between those experiences. I do want to add a little word about safety during sexual summer, because when desire runs this hot, it can sometimes override our usual reasonability. We might not be as conscientious about boundaries and precautions because our primitive brain gets really loud and the rational brain gets really quiet. So I want to encourage you to stay connected to your values and your boundaries, even when the heat of summer is doing its thing, because summer sexuality can be wild without being reckless. And know that, like all seasons, summer doesn't last forever. There is often this fear that when we're in this phase, that if we don't take advantage of every single opportunity, that we'll regret it when our desire shifts. And that fear can lead us to make bad choices that don't really align to our deeper values. So I want you to trust that your sexuality will continue to evolve and summer may return in fits and bursts. Like I said, you could be in winter in the morning and summer in the evening. You'll cycle throughout your entire life. And you could find other seasons just as pleasurable. So don't get so caught up in thinking that summer is the pinnacle of sexual pleasure and desire. It is a experience, but it's not the experience. Because love is embracing the heat of desire without being consumed by it. It's channeling that creative sexual energy in ways that enrich your life rather than complicate it. And next week, we're going to talk about sexual autumn, which is a season that is a little bit slower, more sensual. It's delightful. But until then, I would love to hear from you. Have you experienced sexual summer? Are you in a sexual summer right now? Are you coming out of a sexual summer? How did you navigate that intensity? Feel free to send me an email or leave me a voice note. The links are in the show notes. Until next time, vibe with wherever you are. I love you.